Thank you. Dr. Rochford, I guess as a follow-up to Chairman Smith's question about the 15 attempts and you had 15 breaches, and you mentioned that if they occur today, you could give 100% guarantee that it would prevent it. What percentage would you give?
That would be difficult to assess. At this point, because we haven't rolled out the training, I don't think some of the early steps that need to be taken have occurred. The training, I will have the meetings with management this afternoon. And again, these have been planned for some time. I'll have meetings with all staff. At that point, we'll roll out the required training. My belief is as people take the training and we're holding them accountable, we'll see improvements.
Okay. Now, I also understand that in Gaithersburg, Maryland campus has a new nuclear reactor on site. Is that true?
That's correct.
NIST stores caches of radioactive material for testing. Is that true?
Testing and standards, measurement standards, correct.
Do you realize you can Google this and get this on site? You don't see this as a security risk?
Some of this will be known because of Nuclear Regulatory Commission postings. So yes, it is known. In addition, our nuclear reactor, excuse me, is a Center for Neutron Research, which is a center that uses neutrons to do measurements, and therefore we interact with industry and academia. So they do know about it as well.
Okay, and another question, Doctor. According to the Washington Post, in August of this year, an NIST employee was exposed to an unsafe dose of radiation. And according to this article, as of September 27th, it's still unknown how the container of the radioactive material was compromised. Have they found anything out on that?
Yes, we've learned a great deal in that incident. The material is known as americium. It was held in a small 50 milliliter ampule. We received it from an energy lab about 17 years ago. It was in solution, and as the radioactivity occurred, these decay particles caused what they call radiolysis, created a gas, and over time, the gas overpressured and the ampule exploded. So what in fact happened was not a mishandling event, but we keep these in these lead storage containers, and the material burst. We found it during a routine radiation testing, a survey program that we have, where we look at these spaces weekly. And then when we found it, we could put controls in place. And then we had to test all the individuals who have been in contact with the material before the breach was, or before the dispersion was noted. We're very aggressive in our reporting in safety. So we immediately went to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and we provided a notification that had worst case scenarios. What we've learned since is we've been able to do more testing, both of the material and the bioassay. We believe that the individuals involved have not had exposures above the regulatory limits, that they've actually been below the regulatory limits. These measurements are actually quite difficult. These are alpha emitters, which are very, very faint. So it took some time for us to get the measurements. But we have engaged with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission at great length and with the Department of Energy. And there, in fact, the 30-day report to the NRC went out Saturday. So that's a public document.
Okay, well, I joined Congressman Johnson, I guess, and the concern I have is that y'all are taking it seriously, and particularly with the taxpayer dollars that are going toward this, that I see it's a leadership problem, but it still has got to be some consequences to it. So I would ask you to put this at the top of your list to get fixed, and not just addressed, but to get fixed, because 15 to 15 breaches is unacceptable in my mind. I yield.